Thank you, sir.
Yeah, we are recording now.
This whole thing good. This whole thing will probably go better if you lead the conversation. I guarantee you. I've told you what I would like to accomplish. Now
Hmm.
my goal is to give you what you would like for me because I am your friend.
Yes.
I'm sorry that I am your friend.
Yeah, how dare you do that to me? Um, joking, of course. Um,
No kidding. No, it's not a joke.
fair
But it's funny, but it's not a joke.
enough. Um,
uh,
well, let's see. So we've talked about doing proofreading and editing. You've already got something in line for me. Um, we've already
right,
talked about,
right,
compensation. So we don't need to put that in here.
right, Mr. Harkus. Yeah, it's better not to. 'Cause it just freaks my wife out. Any conversation about money. It's been a problem for me because, like I said, I'm an author first and a businessman second. There's about 2 years in between, and so I know that money is extremely useful and also an imaginary joke at
Right,
the same time.
definitely. Um,
And women by and large do not know that. I'm sure they aren't capable of knowing it.
positive, yeah.
But so
So basically, what
anyways,
I'm gonna ask is how often do you think that you'll have something for me? I do have a full-time job, but I want to do, I've always wanted
good.
more, so I can definitely do this, but part-time, I wouldn't be able to do it full-time at the moment unless you had like so much work in at such a way that I could quit my full-time job. That would be obviously not something I can do right now. Something I'm sure that you can't do right now.
Do you think you would well, this is my full-time job. Did you know that?
Right, but I meant like I don't know if you can also have me be the full-time job. You know what I mean? Like I'm not sure. I mean, obviously I don't know where you
Ah,
are with that, but yeah. So I mean, I'm more than willing to do it part-time to do uh, a few hours, every night or a bunch on the weekend. I could probably knock out a whole lot of stuff on the weekends. Um, so yeah, it's
right.
kind of like, what are you looking for with that? Like the frequency of work.
Um, you would be surprised to find out how much that has to do with what you actually do like want out of life in general. But I'll try to limit myself here. Um, uh, let's see. I have enough money that I know. Um, it seems even that God would like to give me more money in a short period of time. And I have evidence written on paper by other people to prove that. I probably shouldn't talk about money this much, like you are supposed to remind me. I'm just doing some math in my head. Okay.
As long as we're not talking
I
about
would say that
actual numbers, we should, we can avoid. That's fine.
no, it's the whole concept. Anyways, I okay. I'll just answer this question quickly. That's the biggest problem. I've been talking to atheists for like 3 days, and the first lesson that they taught me was I actually don't need to say as many words as I think I do. That's
That's
probably what word salad means. It's
it
just you
is.
get really nervous around atheists because you think they're out to hurt you or something like that. And they're some of the most honest people. I mean, they really do hurt you. It's great. Of course,
um,
made of being hurt irrationally. Anyways, well, I could certainly. I already told you how much I could pay you for today, so you must be wondering how often I could do that thing.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Or how
which
often?
for me,
Go ahead.
which for me has a lot to do with what happens day by day. So it's really only a prediction at this point. Let me think. I've got a pretty solid 3 months ahead of me. Um, I've got a really, really solid 1 month ahead of me. Um, You know what? Let's talk about this privately, but I think I will give you an answer for the upcoming month. I will tell you how much I can have you do for the upcoming month.
Okay.
Does that work to answer that question?
Yeah, definitely. Because like I said,
God
it's
bless
just
you.
something I'm doing on the side, so it's not something I'm relying on, but it's just kind of a nice extra
Good,
income, so I'm totally down for that. Yeah.
good. Well, that's really good. I think that because what are we trying to accomplish again? So you need to edit a book for me,
Right.
and
I
I
need
need to pay
to
you money.
edit the first few chapters. Now, are you talking about proofreading or editing? Because those
Find
are
out if you can.
kind of different.
Yeah, they're two different things. Can you do both at the same time?
I can, yes.
Good.
So
Well, how about you? Good.
I was gonna say, when it comes to editing, though, how do you want me to do that? Um, because obviously with editing, at least my understanding is that you say maybe this section needs to be rewritten. Here are some suggestions, or like, hey, this is an incongruity, in the story or whatever the situation might be. You might need to rewrite this. So is that kind of what you're looking
Well,
for with
what I
editing? Or go ahead.
um the last time we did business together, it was interesting. Because I can't remember, but I had not been an editor, at least not for very long. So now I kind of understand it a little bit better. Because I've been an editor for at least since Father Real died. He made me an editor actually, and so it's been like 3 or 4 years. Um, when did he die? St. Martin's Day, some 2 3 years ago, probably 2 years ago or three, 2.5. So that's how long I've been an editor now. It has in my experience, the major changes like, hey, maybe you shouldn't have this chapter, or maybe you should rewrite this several paragraphs.
Uh-huh.
You really can't give good advice on that unless you read unless you read at least one book. Um, and
Right.
so what I have found when I'm editing, I usually have to get through the whole thing to go back and kind of give that advice. So I kind of chew over, I make notes about it. And in fact, if I have to edit somebody's book and send it to them before I get to the end, I'll actually make a note when I have a sense like that. And I'll be like, I feel like maybe you need to rewrite this, or maybe you need to take this out, but I don't know yet. And I'm going to keep thinking about this so that I remember, because it's hard. It's hard to hold the whole book in your mind. So, so that level of editing, that especially since you're just doing first few chapters, that's probably how I would go about it. And
Yeah.
then and then as far as like syntactical stuff like this sentence or this rhythm or whatever, feel free to do any of that. Also feel free to talk to me as far as like how often you might need me to change this or that, or whatever you might need to know. um yeah, so especially for this first sample, because then I can kind of see how you work, and then we can figure out how we work together, since we have time, since you have a full-time job and are thoroughly enslaved to usury, which is what this nation of ours, this empire, calls stability. Women love it.
They do.
Uh,
They do indeed.
you're married now.
Yes. I'm working on my third year of marriage. Yeah.
Congratulations. Are you having children?
We're working on it.
And you could stop me if it's too personal.
No, no,
Fantastic.
that's fine. But yeah, we're working on it.
Congratulations, man. That's so interesting. What like I said, I've been talking to atheists the last couple days. In fact, God willing, this conversation will be the third part of a podcast. And now let me finish this whole thing actually. So the first title of the first episode is Atheists Are Irresponsible. And the subtitle is I would like to talk to them about it. The second title, which happened after staying up all night talking to them about it, was Usury is the problem, and atheists know more about it than Christians. Those are the two episodes I've got so far. Now, let me ask you: you're not an atheist? You already told me that,
Right.
right? Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Do you have anything on your mind? Like I said, it's better if you lead the conversation.
Well, I mean, I didn't know we were doing a podcast. I thought we were just going to record our business conversation.
I
Why don't
I
you?
know. I'm so sorry. I'm a erratic man. I'm an author, and so it's okay. In fact, there are two categories of people. I'm saying this so you can become more comfortable and adjust to the fact that this is now a podcast. There are two categories of people because if you believe in the final judgment, a podcast is not quite so intimidating, even though it comes with all kinds of temptations and that kind of thing. But I have been exposed in public for humiliation enough times,
I know.
very painfully.
Yeah.
Right, you've seen some of that, yeah. So, anyways, what was I saying? So authors are respected, businessmen are respected. In America, for whatever stupid reason, arbitrary, bad. I mean, it's a broken culture. America is probably the worst nation that's ever, morally speaking, that has ever existed, and we live in its empire. Right? We can agree on that, or
Yeah,
no?
I think so. I'm not sure that it's the
Good.
most
Okay.
immoral. I'm sure we
Good.
can find one that's more immoral at some point in history. History is pretty long.
Well, it is, but the population, everyone agrees on
Yeah.
this, has
Yeah. It's
steadily increased since at least the flood. So
well,
the
yeah.
amount of people affected from a Christian perspective would probably be a really like major consideration. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, I can see that. Yeah, if you put in, the amount of population, if you do immorality per capita, yeah, I would say the U.S. is probably the
Yes.
most. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you might not agree with this. I don't know, but like if we examine then the types of morality, I'm not a theologian. I am an apologist, and I apologize for that, everybody. It's because it's be- well, okay, let me not get off track. What were we talking about? Okay, so it's a podcast. I'm sorry for doing that to you. I think you can handle it.
Yeah.
I have a goal to do one a day suddenly, and okay, so this is why though that I wanted to do it with you, is because I've been researching this and I've slept. So I did the first two podcast episodes, one day and one the next day, and I did not sleep in between, depending on your definition of sleeping. Um, and then now I have slept, which is very interesting. Adam didn't sleep; he did rest. Anyways, so here I am, and I suspect that a major part of solving the problem of usury, which I I firmly believe is the problem to solve in order to correct the immorality of America, to repair it actually. Uh, that this usury, one of the ways to do it is to promote, one of the probably most effective ways to do it is to promote what they call gigs as opposed to what you just called a full-time job. What
Right.
do you think about that?
Well, I think it's definitely preferable, yeah, to do the kind of gig economy. I think is better, even though it's not as stable, like you just mentioned a little while ago. The full time job,
Why is
obviously,
it not as stable? Go ahead.
because it's infrequency of work. It's not guaranteed. Whereas if you have a full time job, it's
Ah,
guaranteed, right? So you kind of take a risk when you're involved in the gig economy, because either someday a lot of people might want your services, and the next day nobody does, and you're just kind of uh,
ah.
in a rocky boat,
You're you-
basically.
you're a fascinating man. I see you have learned to speak the language of women. You are doing a great job.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
Um,
I spend a lot of time around him, so
that's that's really a good. Are you a Southerner?
yes, yep. I'm
Can I
originally
read
from.
something?
Sure.
Can I read something from a fiction book that I wrote not too long ago? And then, 'cause I am a Yankee, unfortunately, I've been hiding it for a long time.
Uh huh.
Um, for obvious reasons. I mean, We just said America is the worst nation in the world. He's responsible at using for him. So I mean, that's simple. There's a lot of people involved, but that was probably the most incendiary way to say it, and to hopefully get some Southerners to listen to me better. Uh, okay, so I wrote this thing. I'm trying to pull it up now, and I can't pull it up. So I wrote this thing in a fiction novel, which is where I do my quietest thinking, and change the name of it. And then I swear, so I was doing this with Southerner, and he was upset.
Really? Can't imagine
I
why.
was doing business with him
Okay. You're cutting out
because
again,
he
so sorry.
believed we were doing.
You still there?
Uh, say it again. What'd you say? I want to know.
Oh, you were cutting out like massively.
What did you say?
You're cutting out a lot. I can't hear
Did I
anything.
do? Gone. I would. Okay. Might be stuff. Give my computer hand. God know what I'm doing. Okay. Oh, let's see. A couple things. Okay. Here. Uh, am I still
A little bit.
cutting out?
Yeah.
Hear me. Here, let me. Good. Okay. I should say, we'll just see what God allows. But basically, I was pulling up a Word document, and that was too much for the computer, much
Yeah.
like the video was. And I
Oh,
forgot
no.
because I like to talk because I'm a Yankee. I'm a Yankee, and I
Right.
like to talk. So, what were you saying?
Um, oh no, you just
What were
the
you
last
saying?
last thing I said was you asked me if I was a Southerner, and I said yeah, I'm from Charleston, South Carolina originally. And that was it. Then you started talking, and then you cut out a lot. So, and I was just letting you know that you
Okay.
were cutting out.
So, you're a Southerner,
Yeah,
and that's why you get along with women. Isn't that interesting?
I suppose. I don't think that's why. I
You think
think
it's true?
I don't know. I mean, there's definitely like a separation, like a socially enforced, not like obviously by law, but socially enforced like separation, almost like different classes in the South. So like you deal with women a certain way, and you obviously you deal with men in another way. And when the two groups are kind of mingled, there's like a lot of etiquette that's involved. And so
That's awesome.
yeah, I mean, it's like we could get
Do
into a
you like
whole
that, or
thing.
you not like that?
No, I do like that. Yeah, I think that that's better
Really?
for
Do you
society.
think most Yes. Do you think most atheists agree with you? I know you're not an atheist.
Right. I doubt it. But I think it's not as much to do with religion as it is to do with uh like ideology in general. Not theology, but ideology. Right. So if you're like you're a left winger,
What
you're
is your
probably not
idea?
going to agree with it. If you're a right winger, you probably will, or at least some variation of it. You said, "What is my ideology?"
That's so well, no, now I want to know what you mean when you say right wing and left wing. Which one would you associate yourself with?
Oh, the right wing for sure. Um, but what I would mean is basically hmm, left wing being like progressive, the people trying to change society to a more future. I don't know how to explain it really. Um,
Huh?
the left wing are like radical. They're revolutionaries, right? They're always trying to change society to their uh, to their vision, right, for the future. Whereas the right wing is more either conservative, so trying to, either be traditionalist or trying to conserve what is already there. And that's kind of more like the
Ah.
the original definition of left and right French Revolution when you had all the revolutionaries sitting on the left hand side of the parliament, and you had the conservatives or the monarchists on the right hand side. So they were literally left and right.
Right.
So that's kind of where that came
It-
from. I'm not sure
and
I explained that very well, uh, but that's
no, I
kind
mean
of,
you did wonderfully. Can I ask you a question now?
of course,
Um, so you associate yourself with the right wing,
definitely, yeah.
more or less. I mean, I'm not trying to trick you. I actually like you. Let me just say this. I get along with you much better. In to say not get along like stay out of each other's way. Actually, I work with you better. We accomplish more things together as men than the traditionalist Catholics, uh, which is the group that I am most closely associated with by name. So, or by ideology, I guess. So here's my question now, because I just want you to know I'm not trying to trick you. I actually want the traditionalist cat. This might surprise you. I actually want the traditionalist Catholics to act more like you. So, so that's what I'm trying to do here. So the right wing. Here's the right wing. You associate, or you don't. So you might be associated with it. They don't like society. They don't want society to change. They want to conserve it. Do you think society should be changed?
Oh, absolutely, it should be. Yeah, it should definitely change.
Fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. But that also has to do with my
So it
ideology.
should be changed. Right. It should be changed, but not progressed.
Right.
Should we regress it? What do you think?
I don't think that those are the only two options. I think that
Okay.
so
Go ahead.
I don't think you would agree with me, but I'm basically a an ANCAP, right? Anarcho-capitalist, or just an anarchist in general. So it's more of
Well, maybe well, real quick, maybe I wouldn't agree with you, and when you say I am an anarcho-capitalist, I think I don't agree with you. But what I realize is so a contradiction indicates either a lie or wisdom. And the man's being sincere, he's not lying. So I think there's wisdom here because you're being sincere. So I don't think I like anarcho capitalism. But wouldn't you say that the thing I wanted to do with gig marketplaces involving you, such that I'm using it now as a public example to the whole world, fits pretty well with the ideology of anarcho capitalism as you see it? Is that
yeah,
true?
definitely. I mean, that's part of the reason why I would agree to it, because it does fall in line with my values.
So,
No problems.
so So the question is, why are we not a part of the same ideology? Are because I'm a traditionalist Catholic, and you're an anarcho-capitalist.
Mhm.
What's going on? What are, you know? You tell me, because I don't know. I really don't.
I'm not sure. I mean, what do we? I'm sure there are a lot of things that we disagree on. So there's a lot of things that we would not work together well on. This is just one of those things where both of these values meet.
Do you work on religion?
Can you say that one more time?
This is a this is like a question, a philosophical question. Does a man work on religion?
Does a man work on religion? Well, what do you mean by that? Um, like, is he
I
actively?
want to know what you might mean by it, but you go ahead.
Well, I'm trying to figure out the context of what you mean. Like, are you working actively on creating or adjusting a religion, or are you working on the basis of religion? Like, as in everything that you do for work is religious, or everything that you do for work is what you do is based on religion. So I'm just there's all these different pathways you can go down. I'm trying to figure out which one
Yes.
you mean.
The word the word religion means whatever we want it to mean. Isn't that funny?
Sure.
So, um, and I'm aware of this because I'm an Irishman and uh, I speak English and I write English very, very well. It is an extremely broken language.
Oh yeah.
We can all agree on that.
Oh, for sure.
So, One of the reasons I keep getting atheists frustrated with me, I'm trying to resolve this, is I ask them, "What is your definition?" And then they get really upset because they don't have a definition. They said it's the definition. Well, we're talking about English, so and then they tell me to go to Webster's. Well, Daniel Webster died a long time ago. And so I kind of like questioned this path down a little bit. I'll just tell you so I'm not avoiding the question. My working definition of religion, depending on who I'm talking to, if I'm talking to myself or if I'm talking to God, I try to make it this. I try to make it the virtue of right worship of God, because that was the definition I somebody told me that Thomas Aquinas used. So I'm not particularly good at Thomas Aquinas because he, you know, doesn't live in the modern world as a with his body most likely, but only in heaven influencing it. Um, so let's see now. So is that okay? So that's the answer to that question. But the problem, we don't use words the same way. The English is like, in fact, I think one of the things. This is another thing to kind of elucidate my point here is the Catholics I know um, don't learn Latin, and I think, and they're so embarrassed about it. I think it's because they're too busy learning all the Englishes, and that's the most prudent thing they could be doing, because it's like you have to relearn the whole English language every time you try to communicate with an English speaker. And some people get frustrated. And it's a frustrating thing. It's a tiring thing. It's God broke the languages at Babel. English is much newer than Babel, and it's the most broken language. I actually think it's the most broken language. I'm very good with it. I've got 10,000 plus hours in many different mediums. So,
Yeah.
anyways, that's what I have to say. What do you have to say? Because obviously, I've been a Yankee again. God save my soul, please. You pray for me. Can you pray for me? Are you capable of prayer, sir? I want to
Yes, I
know.
am capable of prayer. Yes. Um, as
Will
for
will you pray for me?
yes, I will do
Oh, God bless you. Oh, I knew I liked you. Okay.
that.
Go ahead.
um, anyway, so yeah, English is definitely obviously a broken language. There's a lot of good reasons for that. Obviously, it originated in England, but it was also made up of a whole bunch of different languages that already existed, and then they threw Germanic languages in there, and then you have like society influencing
Wait,
it.
wait, wait. Wait a second. This is touching on another thing that I am, which is an historian.
Mhm.
Uh, I thought English was a Germanic language. Is that not true?
Um, so it is a Germanic language, but it's also just kind of it just picks apart all the little tribal languages, like the Anglicans. What was the other one?
You mean the Angles? The
Angles,
Angles?
the
Is that what you mean?
Saxons.
Not the Anglicans. The
Not the
Angles,
Anglicans.
right? And the
That's their
Saxons. Good.
religion. You're right. I'm just trying to remember this stuff off the top
Haha,
of my
there's that
head.
word again.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember this
So,
off the top of my head, but basically, it's an amalgamation of a bunch of different languages that are ancient, and then society has had time to use them and abuse them, and change them into kind of its own. So, like in England specifically, even
right.
today, you can go, two towns over, and the accent's different. They have a different word for different things. Um, just like everything, it's almost like a different language. It's a different dialect of English. Now you can do that, and now the English have, throughout history, spread their influence and language throughout the whole world. So now there's a lot of different English-speaking
Ah,
countries, and they have their own societal effects on the language. So it's just been this like hodgepodge of, you know, uh,
you know
various
what's
different
funny?
languages, including
So,
Latin and French and Spanish. Like you can just there's random words. Um, surveillance would be one of them
it's
that are just French, and we just like took it. Rendezvous,
you
uh,
know what's another
French.
you know what's another one? Pork.
Pork.
Pork is a French word.
I didn't know that.
Yes, you want to know why?
Sure.
Do I know why? Did you know, sir, that I am a pork butcher?
I did not.
I could send you pictures, but it might break the computer if I do it right now. I am a
Fine.
pork butcher.
Cool.
I am also a swine herd. Isn't that interesting? So
That
I'm
is
a pork
interesting.
butcher. I'm a pork butcher in the kitchen. I'm a swine herd in the field. Why? Because William the Bastard was a king, obviously, and a Norman and a duke and all these things. And so when he came to England, the Frenchmen were in the dining room. The Englishmen were in the field. And then there were Englishmen that worked alongside Frenchmen in the kitchen. Hence, I am a pork butcher, but a swine herd.
Hmm.
Now, that is incredibly profound if you have the time to think about it. But anyways, because because history, I have this problem with a Catholic priest right now. Let me ask you, what communicating with him? Uh, what do you think of Catholic priests? That
Um,
word.
Generally positive. Uh,
Tell me,
I mean, well,
really
I was raised Catholic, yeah. So I have no problem with Catholic.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Are you Catholic?
I always say that yes. I'm not practicing. Like I don't go to church.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
How do you go to church? If you're not doing it, how do you do it?
How do you what? Go to church or how do you be Catholic?
How do you go to church? That's what
I
I want to know.
Well, I
It seems
don't.
like an easier thing to answer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
Huh?
currently. Um,
No, no, I mean like how does a man go to church?
oh, well, I mean, I assume that you're trying to come to some philosophical thing as opposed to just saying you go to the local church and attend mass.
Well, 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 I I already apologized for the way I've treated you. But I want to try to help you, and with the full recognition that I'm not qualified to do it because I'm really incompetent. I've learned that since because let me tell you, okay, what's the quickest way I could say this? I am a husband and father and very bad at it. So I know I'm incompetent at everything. Does that answer your question? Nobody showed me how to be a husband and father. I
Right.
am currently doing it at a high level incompetently. Hence, I am incompetent at everything. I can't do community. I can't do society. Society is made by women. Community is made by men. And so I'm incompetent. So the point is that, yes, I'm trying to reach a philosophical point, but I have no idea what it is. Does
Yeah.
that help? So how does a man go to church? I make no guarantee we'll reach it today, but how does a man go to church?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, especially if you're following Catholicism, you do have to go down to the local Catholic church and attend Mass, preferably on the Sabbath, but
Wow.
there are other days.
Wow. What is the Sabbath? Oh, this is fascinating. What is the Sabbath?
Well, in Catholicism, it's Sunday. It's the day that God rested after creating the world and all the animals and uh,
That blows my mind. You're a Southerner, right? You're not. I I want to. Oh, I'm cutting you off. Am I cutting you off?
no, 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 you're good. I was
I'm
done.
so I'm so excited. I'm so excited to talk to a man like you. I know I'm gonna make you tired. That's a temperamental thing. Whenever you get tired, please let me know, and I will do my best to stop talking as quickly as possible. Um, so, uh, and like we can end this conversation and all that kind of stuff. Um,
Yeah, I do have
so
to
you're a
leave.
Southerner,
I probably got
and
like 10 minutes left.
you have to go.
Not yet. 10 minutes.
3 or 10.
10.
Okay. Um, well, I'll ask one more question philosophically, and then I want to focus on pragmatic things. So, um, you're a Southerner. Did you know? So this is all one question only. Okay. So the Spanish, the Mexicans, whom I'm sure you've encountered in this empire, they they call Saturday, which we name after a pagan god that ate his own children, they call it Sabado or something of that nature, which means Sabbath. And yet, what you said, this Catholic Sabbath, is Sunday. My question is, do you think that the Mexicans agree with that statement you made? And I
Um,
don't know, so I'm wondering.
I think they do because they still go to church on Sundays. Um, so
Right,
yeah,
right.
I don't think. Let me see, because you might be right that that's what that means, but that might not be. Let me look that up real quick.
Well, well, okay. Here's the actual question. This is the last question. I'll go back to pragmatic things because I want you to succeed in this horrible world we live in, that I am struggling with on a daily basis, and everyone's very aware of it. Um, uh, uh, why do Catholics celebrate the Sabbath on Sunday? Why? Is it a good thing? Or why? Just why?
Why?
In,
I'm not sure. I'm sure there's some like scriptural thing, but the main reason would be tradition. If we're gonna drill down to it, that's what has been for a
Wonderful.
long time, and so that's what we do now.
Okay, I just want to state my opinion because I'm a bad apologist, but I want to make sure not to accidentally be a heretic. So, because I could go to hell for that. And so yes. So my understanding is that Catholics are required to go to Mass on the Lord's Day, as well as ceasing from profane labor. And the Lord's Day is called colloquially Sunday, and it was moved to Sunday by the Church's authority because that was the day Jesus resurrected. And so it is also called the Sabbath, especially amongst English speakers, because Sabbath means rest, and you cease from profane labor on the Lord's day by law. So that's not to say there aren't plenty of exceptions to that law, within reason, as our Lord shows in the Gospels very clear. But that's my understanding, so I'll try not to go too much into it. I just want to make sure I'm not a heretic. But it's really fascinating to me, and it's about language and philosophy. Okay, so pragmatically speaking, uh, I'm going to give you work today, and I'm going to pay you for it. Okay, we will talk about those things privately. Is there anything I've neglected to do for you,
Um,
my good friend,
I don't
my
think so.
useful friend?
No, I don't think so.
When
I
could
think we're good. What's that?
good? Okay, I'll ask you to do another thing for me, and then I'll ask you. Okay, so here's the thing I would like you to help me with. Um, I am trying to build a media empire in about 2 weeks. And I know this involves being a laughing stock to atheists, which I could not be happier to find that out. I just found that out this morning. Um, uh, do you? I don't know if you get along with atheists, but is there any like group of people using social media or whatever that you have access to or whatever that I could get in, like that I could get to listen to me either by allowing them to mock me or allowing them to talk and not talking at all or whatever. You know what I mean? Is
Yeah.
there anything you could do for me to help me with this goal?
I can find groups for you. Are you looking on like
Okay,
Facebook,
good.
Reddit, that sort of thing?
Well,
The
you
Reddit.
tell me what to do, and
Okay, because yeah, the Reddit atheists are
you
going to
tell me
be.
what to do. I've said my goals. You tell me what to do.
Okay, you're cutting out again.
Well, I think I think best talk and a speed audio. Okay, and at the end of the, I think you can do it to me, audio or whatever.
So
Hear
okay,
that?
you just stopped cutting out. So repeat that last thing you said.
I said, when do you then God did that. I'm happy with it. When do you think you could get this file to me? Audio file or video
Um,
file?
Probably I can try and work on it now. If it's something really easy, I can just send it to you. If not, I might have to wait till later today. I've got a
Yes.
few things to do. Um, just send me your email and I'll email it to you. I
Okay.
think that might be the best way, just
Wonderful.
in case we
Okay.
run into
Don't
like file size issues on Discord. So,
I Yeah, I would like to publish it today. The quality is fine, and my children's voices aren't on here and all that kind of stuff. So there's no editing I require. So you feel free to edit according to what makes it the easiest to publish, if that makes sense. But God bless you. Thank you.
will do. And
We will
yeah,
talk. In fact, if you want to end the recording and talk to me about anything privately right now, you're welcome to do that.
um, I think I'm good
And
right now.
leave, and y'all have just. Okay. All right. Well, this has been a pleasure. Goodbye.
Definitely.
God
See
be
ya.
with you.
You too, man. See ya.